Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Eliott Wave update for Chainlink. I'm on the Binance chart. Now this one was a little bit difficult. I'm just going to show you real quick the trend historically. I'm missing some data here. I did go on CoinMarketCap and it does look like there's some lower lows behind me. And just looking at the shape of this on log scale, I'm torn between impulse or diagonal. Just keep that in mind. So it doesn't really make a huge difference. It's a 5-wave pattern either way. But if you throw on our trend lines here, it does mimic a diagonal pretty nicely. So just keep that in mind. All that would change is this would become a 3-wave over here. This is our 1 and our 2. And it actually fits pretty nicely for our targets for our third. About just under the 1-to-1, depending where you start the count from, but it does look pretty good as either an impulse or a diagonal. We have our divergence between our third and our fifth, and our peak was potentially back here near the 1. So it's hard to say. Diagonal, it does look 3-wave-ish. If you just look at this, it does look pretty 3-wave-ish, but it's very difficult to say. But either way, it does look like a motive wave to the upside. Now after that, this was very complex. I remember tracking this in real time. This was very complex at the end. I've been spending about the last hour looking at this one just to get it as accurate as possible. So first I have this, since our high in wave 5, as a 5-wave move, as an A, complex correction for our B, diagonal for our C, which gives us a W, and at a 3-wave move for our X, and another impulse for an A wave, complex correction for our B, and a expanded diagonal to end for a double zigzag, which gives us a WXY. This one was very difficult. I considered maybe it's a triangle, but it came to extremes, and this is very difficult to count 5 waves at the end. As you can see, it's almost impossible. So it's the only thing that logically made sense, and this is how close this came to invalidating. This was our B wave correction. This was our wave 2, the expanded ending diagonal. That's how close it came. Right there. It was what, 9,467, 949. Pretty close to invalidating. It was like less than 0.5%. But that being the case, we then had a series of 3s as an ending diagonal to complete our Y wave. Now off that low, I have this as a 5-wave move to the upside. So potentially out on the daily, a completed 1-2 on a larger time frame. Just throw that label on for you. This correction also with the W off the X for our Y. You can see we came just shy of the 100%. Just past the 786, everything's valid. It would have been nice to just come to that 100%, but I remember watching this months ago. It just wouldn't break either way. It was going to be interesting to see how this completed itself. But this is a rare correction, hard to spot in real time. Off that low, we had a 5-wave move. This count was difficult too. Very difficult to get in real time. It can be either a extended 5th wave, and it would be like this, no overlap. We would have our wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2. There's got to be a triangle there, 3, 4, 5. Or this as an expanded diagonal. Either way works. Series of 3s, expanded diagonal. Either way works. I prefer the diagonal. that, we had our wave 2, and then our wave 1, 2, 5 waves in our third, 4, 5 is a diagonal, expanded flat for our fourth, and then 5 waves up for our fifth. Label it this way because of where our peaks were. We want divergence between our third and our fifth. Can count 5 waves in there fine. Most volume within the third of the third, and then we get our divergence between that third and fifth as well of the larger degree. So everything looks good there for an impulse. One thing of note, I'll show you down at the 4 hour, is I have our fifth wave high, 1 wave back, because no matter how small the time frame I was going on here, no matter how close to the time frame I was going on, this is a 3-wave move. So we can't end in 3. This can be a diagonal. So that's where my fifth wave high is. So that adds to the complication of the correction after the fact, but just wanted to be clear, this is a 3-wave move. I have to put our fifth wave high over here. Okay, so where does that leave us now? This is potentially a 1, 2, 1 lesser degree. On the daily, and 1 larger degree from here. Okay, so we're looking for the start of a trend. Let's go out to the daily here. We are currently, remember I pulled the pivot from that fifth wave high, not the absolute high. So right now we're at the 382. On linear scale, we're actually at the 618. So technically can be complete here. I'll dive deep into this correction in a moment, but we came to the 786 again of the first move down off the second for our third move. And you can see we did that before at the 786. So something that could bring confluence to this asset. We'll see if it ends up holding there. Okay, this was a very tough one too. So first of all, put on our pitchfork from the fifth to our first major pivot, second major pivot, and I have a shift pitchfork on here. So this is the zone I'm looking for a pivot. You can see we're there right now. The count was very difficult because of the fact we had that 3-wave to the upside. So the only thing that makes logical sense at this moment to complete soon, remember the pattern can always change, but to complete soon in this zone that we want it to complete, this would have to be a flat ABC as a W wave, an X wave, then a zigzag as our Y, larger X wave, and another zigzag here. So we'd have a triple combination here as a zigzag ABC. So WXY, XZ. A very rare correction, so we'll see if this ends up working. But it's the only way I could count it with us completing soon. I considered maybe this is a triangle, but that doesn't make sense either because this was a 3-wave at the end. So pretty difficult, as you can see. Might turn into something else as price action fills out. But if we're close to complete, I took our final ABC here. Remember, our minimum requirement for our C that I would consider is the 618, which we ticked right there. So this can be a completed C wave in the zigzag. This can be complete. And our wave 2 can be complete. So we'll see if this fails. I'd expect something like this, and then we come down, potentially make some sort of diagonal to complete and just chop sideways. Or we come up a little higher, make our 4-5. It's hard to say. We'll have to wait and see. But on the smaller time frames, it's not looking amazing yet. I was looking at the count earlier. You can see we have potentially 5 waves in. This looks like if a low is in, this would be some sort of flat working itself out, which if it is a bullish move, that is pretty bullish. Sorry, it's like this. It is pretty bullish, but you can see how long we're extending in time, just kind of going against guidelines. So I want to see what happens here next. If we get a nice 5-wave move up to the 618 extension of this wave 1 off wave 2 up in this zone, and we have our 5-wave move, nice sideways pullback, consolidating at the previous highs, that's where I might look for a long and expect this to potentially be a 1-2-1-2. But until that happens, I'm not interested. But a potential bottom is in. That's all I'm going to say on that until we get more price action. So as you can see, it was a very complicated count, but we are right in the zone we want to be, almost at that 1-to-1, technically can be considered complete. So Chainlink looks really good for upside. I also had a pitchfork. Just wanted to show you guys this as well. I just always mention this, so I just wanted to show you this. It respected the pitchfork pretty well. Another evidence, I always preach this, that as soon as we start trending out of the pitchfork, most likely the previous wave is complete. There's another example for you if you want to use that for the future. And for our wave 5, we take the length of wave 1, project it off the length of wave 4, look for the 1-to-1, boom, there it is. There was our 5th. So this is reacting exactly as it should for an impulse. So where's our upside? Looking good. Now for a rough, as long as we hold above the 618, this is just a general guideline I use. It usually lines up with the 1.618, but if this is a 1-2, our next target for the 1.618-ish area would be around $100. A little higher if this pivot holds. 126. So if we come a little bit lower, I'd be looking for $100. If we hold here around 126 for our 3rd wave. So it's looking quite good, as you can see. But man, that was a nasty correction to count all the way. This wave as well, this whole wave, but looks good. Looks like it's ready to go very soon. I will be updating this one on the regular. This is going to be added to the rotation. Again, what I'm looking for is 5 waves up and sideways consolidation above or at these levels to consider a long at this point. All right, guys, that's it for Chainlink. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.